Hey, very good morning to all of you. Girish, can you check with other candidates? I can see only 20 people yet. I think these 11 people always comes late.
Which one?
Anyway, let's start with the revision. We still have less people, but let's start. So we have discussed till now about few components already. For example, we have introduced yesterday what is your Spark SQL. I also gave you a working scenario for your number of cores, how to decide that what should be your parallelism number, which should give you a better performance. In Spark SQL, we understood about what is the data frames. We also saw some of the commands, how it works with respect to SQL. It is little different, but then we also saw we have SQL context, Hive context, and those Hive contexts will help us in getting those results across. So this is all we have discussed in yesterday's session. Secondly, I have also kind of basically told you how we work with respect to the Databricks environment. So what exactly how my Databricks sort of looks like, what's the setup method within it, and everything we have done it apart. How many of you have set up the data set and the images folder inside it? Is there anyone? In fact, how many of you have done that? How many of you have set it up? The folder was immediately available as the class was over. So what I was looking for was that in this file store, you have to place this particular data set, which is retailer data set. How many of you have done this? No? No one did. Okay. Can you all quickly do that now? Because otherwise the whole class will be sort of waste. So create a retailer here. Create a retailer. Go to your Google Drive. From there, ensure that you have downloaded a data set, unzipped it. After that, drop all your files here. So meanwhile, I will give you some explanations. At least by that time, your data set will be uploaded. So all of you, can you do that? I'm giving you 5 minutes to at least go inside your lab and do all this. And also ensure that you have your this lab as well. Means this thing also should be ready for you. Let me also delete these old clusters because I no more need it. Let me create a new one. I'm going to call it as demo. I'm going to choose it as 2.4 point this 6.4 extended support. I will keep everything as same. Click create. All of you go ahead, do these two steps quickly. I'm giving you 5 minutes for it. Anyway, the dataset upload will take a good time, but by the time I will give you some explanation. Meanwhile, anyway, my cluster is also coming up. If anybody have forgotten yesterday's steps, please ask me, I can help you with that. And once you are done, type in the chat box you're done so that I'm aware of that you have completed this. Okay, I can see quite a few done. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, only 6 people have done it. Rest of you, can you quickly do that? Because today and tomorrow almost more than half of the class, we will be needing this. So you will be doing a lot of activities on this today. So that's the reason you definitely need this data set. Whoever have completed, ensure that your cluster is up and running, because cluster run also takes a little bit of time. It should be in green color. Without that, your notebooks will not run. Last 1 minute, quickly complete your setup. After that, I will start. Means if in case you have not downloaded and all, I hope you have done it now. Just make sure that you keep it open after that, because if you remove it, it will be having a half uploaded files. So keep it open. Meanwhile, I will be teaching you concepts. Your dataset will get uploaded. That's completely fine. Actually, as far as that we have started it up, at least it's okay. Because initial thing I'm going to teach you. Okay. Now I need everyone attention here. So now what I will do is I will come to my workspace. Now there are multiple ways I could have done all these steps. For example, I could have come to the main page, and from here itself I could have said that new notebook, which is also fine. Here I don't want to do that, but instead I want to come to my workspace, and from this workspace I can click on this. Now I can maybe create a folder. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna create a folder called as Akin, and inside this folder, now I want to go and create, let's say, a notebook. So let's say here, I came here and said that, hey, I want a notebook, maybe let's name it as data frames. Okay, I'm gonna create some data frames inside it. So I name it as data frame. What is the language I want? We have learned about Scala. Let's use Scala. What is the cluster I want? I can choose demo, because this is the only one we have created here, and it will show you in the green color. Don't do it along with me, guys. Please listen to me for now. I will give you a good time to do all this. And you can see here that you will have all the languages supported. Python, you could have also done it in case if you work in Python, or SQL or R. So I'm going to choose Scala anyway. Let's click on create. Now the notebook will look like this. If you notice, this looks very much similar to my Jupyter notebook. where I can go ahead and execute any of my code. Now, if you recall my data where I have kept, so just like we have HDFS, DFS -ls, similarly for Databricks, we have command called as FS ls. They have given a little shortcut for it. Now, after that, you can give the path. So the path was, if you recall, file store. Inside this, I have tables, and inside this table, I have retailer, right? Now, I can click Shift Enter. When I will do this, this will show me that what all files are available inside this folder. Let's see that. You can see all the files showing up for you. Okay. Now, instead of this, I could have also given one more because I have a data folder also where I had already placed the data. I can also do that and also execute it. So this works exactly like your SDFS commands, whatever we have already seen. Now, what I want to do is, I want to, you can see this one file, customer.csv, right, which is showing up for me. Now, what I want to do, this CSV file, I would like to read it and want to create it like a data frame out of it. Now, how I can do that? Now, one important thing here is when we are working in Apache Spark, remember I told you about Spark session. So we will be using that now. So I will not be using SQL context right now. I will be using this Spark session. So for this, I'm going to create now maybe a data frame. I'm going to say customer df is equal to, I'm going to create it now Spark session, which is spark dot read dot csv. If you recall, we have already discussed about this API. Now inside it, I need to provide the file path. So the way we will be providing it up is we have to tell that, okay, it's coming from SDFS. So here we call it as DBFS. Okay, DBFS means database file, basically systems. So just like SDFS is there, they call their own system as DBFS. Now from here, you can give this path. Let me copy this path from here, which I have given it. And once I give this, I can give now customer.csv. So this is the folder which have basically my customer.csv, as you can see here. In fact, it might be there in retailer also. It's just that yesterday I closed that little sooner, so I'm not sure if it got uploaded or not. But anyway, inside the data folder, this is there for me, so I can execute it. You can notice now a few things here. Number one, as you can see here, it is saying that I have created a org.apache.spark.sql.data frame. Okay, number one. Number two is there is a string, and there are few more fields along with it that is coming from the customer DF. So this is one way to load my data. And if I want to print it up, I have a way to do this. I can just say display. So this is like, sorry, this is just one more command for it. Just like we have seen that dot show, right? Similarly, you can also say display, and you can define your data frame. So let's say you say customer DF. Now, if you execute this, look at the output. So you can see here, what it have done is it is showing me all the data into a tabular format. So earlier it was a comma separated file, and now everything became a data frame format. This is how we can look at the data. Now there is one more way how we go about it. And I'm intentionally going to show you this because we will be using this little later. So let's say I say cust, let's call it a shortcut name, cust, and I'm going to say spark session dot read dot format. Now notice a slight difference here. Here we were saying read.csv. Here I'm saying read.format. Now the way it works is, remember that load command which I showed you. This is similar to that. That just like in the load command, you can also say read.format, and then you can say, okay, what file format you want here. So like you can say .csv. Now here you can define it like load, and again you can give this whole path. So I can give this path and execute it. And if I do let this complete. So now if I do a display of my cust, you can see it is going to return me the appropriate results for it. It will give me exactly in fact the same result. There will be no difference with that. So the reason I showed you this because I just want to keep on adding to the same command so that it helps you to reach to that state. Now, one more thing which I want to show you is, if you notice right now what is happening, I'm getting C0, C1, C2 and all this like this. And there is a second problem if you notice. In my CSV file, if you go and open, you will find that the name of this will be, means let me show you in fact. Let me go there in my data. Let's go to create table, go to DBFS, go to file store, go to tables, retailer, let's see, yeah, this customer.csv is there. Okay, it is not going to open from here, but if you want, you can open it from your folder itself. So you will find the top header will be having basically your top header will be going, it's going to exactly have the header names, basically the column names. But what it is doing is, it is giving in row inside the row itself. It is not coming here, but instead it started giving it here. So how to fix this now? Because this is wrong design. And that the same thing happened here also. Here also, when I did without format, even the same thing happened. It started giving me here, which is the wrong thing to do. So how to fix this? So in order to fix this, what we have to do, again, I will say val, let's call it as test1. Now I'm going to say spark dot read. Now after that, I'm going to say, so once I've defined this, I'm going to say dot option. Okay. Now what option I want to give? I will say, okay, my header is going to be true, which means I want to read my header as a column. Now, further to this, you can again say dot, and this time you can say CSV, and now you can give again this file path and execute it. Let's see what's going to come now. So now, once it is done, I can say display. Now, as soon as you will do this, it will be reading your schema details as well properly. Can you notice now? All the column names became proper. So instead of giving me C0, C1, C2, now I can see the appropriate names what is showing up. Clear everyone on this part? Now, can you go ahead in your notebooks and try these commands quickly? Just want to ensure that you are able to assess your database properly. You are able to execute all your commands properly because we will be hitting lot many today. Can you all quickly go to your lab? In order to bring all the commands into one page, I have just cleared all the execution so that you can see all the commands. And once you are done, just type done so that aware of that you have completed this. And guys, it's a request because I can still see, I think few of you are trying to execute along with me. The thing is, I'm okay if you want to do that, but as in when we will go to advance, and if you will keep on doing that, you may miss out on some important concept. So avoid that because I'm already giving you a good time to do it, and you have to sit idle also unnecessarily once everyone is doing the lab. So better thing is when I'm speaking, just listen to me unless and until I'm asking you to do that. Just listen to me carefully, and once I'm done, then go ahead and execute all this. And when I ask you to execute also, try to be little more curiosity. Means don't just copy paste. Otherwise, what's the point? Try to see some other things also within it. Okay, if I change the read dot format to let's say something else and reading a CSV file, what will happen? Try to be curious because that's the way even I have learned. Right now in the class, I cannot show you other curiosity because we have also a time factor involved here. But when you are getting time and you have done something, try to be little curious and see if you're mixing things, what's happening, and try if you get some weird answer, try to get that answer on your own. Because if you build this curiosity, if you build that habit of getting answers from here and there, like yesterday you guys asked me, right, how you got this parallelism number thing, uh, how you thought about it. So this also came from my curiosity, right? So if you develop this habit from now, you can become a very good data engineer on this side.
Shiva, quick question. Um, Here, when we are
Yes, sir, please ask.
so here we are so when we're loading the file, right? It's creating a data frame, right? Uh, but not we're not specifically indicating in any way that it should be a data frame, right? Does that mean invoking the Spark session, it will by default intake them as data frames? Um,
Yes, that's what is happening around right now. So if you want to create an RDD now, the method is little different. Now you have to say dot RDD and all that. Now, in fact, all the Spark operations are happening with the help of data frames itself. There's another standard we call as data set as well. I will come to that in some time. But for RDD now, basically the things have little changed. Either you create it using Spark context, which is still available to you. Like if you hit Spark context here, it will work. So either you can do that, but in case if you're using Spark session, by default, it goes and start creating your data frames for you.
okay.
How many of you have completed? Please type done. If you're facing any problem, just let me know immediately. Okay, I can see Herschel, Surbi have completed.
One other question, Shubha. For Python, we need to have indentations, right? Um,
Mhm.
for Scala, is it more like Java or does it also need indentations?
No, it is more like Java. You can say, in fact, Scala is the sister language of Java.
Okay.
Last 2 minutes, quickly complete. Okay, now I started seeing some more responses. Gaush have completed. Srivatsar have completed. So 4 people have done. Last 2 minutes. Arun and Pradeep are done. Okay. Last 1 minute. Okay, now I'm going ahead. In case if you're not able to yet complete it, you can try it maybe after the class. Now, the next thing I want to show you is a little different file from it. So, for example, I will say fs head, and this time I want to bring up a file which is called as customer.dat. Okay, let's see this file. Now, if you look at this file, this is a dat file, and you can see here that this is like having a pipeline operator in middle, right? It's a pipeline operator. It's not a comma separated. Now, how to handle this one then? So we will say cust2 is equal to spark.read. Now let's say option. So first thing is, you can see we still have headers. I want all this header into my output. So I can say header comma true. This is first thing. Second thing is I'm gonna say comma. Now I'm gonna again give option, and this time I'm gonna say that I need a separator here. Now, because by default it takes the separator as comma, that's the reason we need not give it before. But this time I will say that, hey, I need a pipeline separator. So this is going to be my separator to read this file. And now, in this case, I can read this DAT file also with the CSV file itself, CSV API itself. This will be able to take this up as well. And now here I can say that. Let's execute, because it's again like a text format. It's just the delimiter is different. That's the reason we can read it in this manner as well. So now you can see it have created a data frame. I can say display cust2, and that's it. It will return me a good result in front of me. So you can see it just here. The main point was to show you that how you can read it with a different delimiter. Now here, when we executed it, it showed me that, okay, I have C underscore customer underscore SKS string, C underscore customer underscore ID. Then there are some 16 more fields to it. Now, if you want to see how many columns you have, right? So you can say cust2 dot columns dot size. When you will execute this, this is going to return you that you have some 18 columns in this particular data frame. If you want to select some specific columns out of it, that also you can do that very easily. Instead, what you can do in this case, you can simply define some of the column names which you need from it. So for example, you can say, hey, I need maybe a cust3, and this time what I want is, I can say, let's say from cust2 dot select, and from here I can see a lot of column names being given to me. For example, I have C underscore customer underscore ID. Maybe I want to give few more, let's say with comma, and I can say C underscore first underscore name. Now again I can give comma. I can say C underscore last underscore name, and maybe I want to close it here. Let's execute this. Now either I can say display of cust3, or the old command itself I can show you also. I can say cust3 dot show, and when I will execute this, you can see these outputs coming up for you. Okay, so this way also you can get all these commands as well. Now one more thing which I want to show you, like you will find a lot of people using different ways of also giving these commands. For example, let me use the same one so that you can get an idea. Either I can say here call, okay, because you should know all the method. Let's say if you are reviewing somebody code, or maybe you're reading some code sitting in open source community, then you should know how people refer to all this. I can say call here, which should also be fine. If I want, I could have also given it like column. That also works a lot of time. There is no problem with this. Let's basically, this is another way. One more way is, what we can also do is we can a lot of times define it by dollar. Okay, I did a mistake here. It should be getting close like this, right? Now, one more way is that I can also define it with a dollar. So let me do it on a different one. That will be better. So I can also say dollar this. There is a column called as birth year. I can also define it like this. This will also be fine for us. Let's execute this. Okay, I did a mistake here. Give me a minute. Have I done any typo? I doubt so. One minute. Let me bring it from my place. Okay, I did a mistake here. The reason was I started working on the wrong data set, if I'm not wrong. Let me look at this.
Shivank, you have to import, isn't it?
You have to
Import the COI call or column.
import the semicolon. No.
No, this call and column functions we have to import right from SQL.
No, that's not it. Just one second. I have this code somewhere written with me. I can bring it from there. That's okay. let me bring this full part of it here. That will also work. So this was the same custom one which I have created. And now what I'm going to show you, let me bring up. Okay, so this is one same thing. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring up all these. Okay, you are right actually. You're right. I forgot to import this. So basically what's going to happen is this call and all is not available to us by default. So for this one, what I have to do is I need to import this org.apache.spark.sql.function, and I need to provide this call comma column. Who gave this answer? Who was
It's me.
saying good, Dosh? I completely missed it out. This is something which will be required. It's not a member. 1 second. This should be functions and not function. Okay. Now, once this is done, and if I hit this, this will also start working now. Okay, let me in fact do it here itself. It's all about just a column name errors now. So if I execute this will take up. You can see I did all the same steps, no difference with it. And this time also it worked for me and it gave me all the appropriate results, whatever is required from me. If you want, I can say now the display and I can say customer. And basically I can define here with what. So you can see the output coming up in front of you. This is going to be the complete result, which it's going to give with it. So yeah, sorry about that. I missed out completely this one thing, which is going to be important here, that I need to basically provide the import command. Otherwise, these functions by default are not available. Now, one thing is if I want to check the schema of this, so I can say print schema. And if I execute this, now what it will do, it will tell me the whole schema of it. You can see here, it is going to tell me that I have a customer ID, which is of string type, and it also allows the null values to be inserted. Similarly, I have a first name, which is again of the string type, and I also allow the null value to be inserted. That's the reason it's all true, and we can work with that. So this is the way we can work with this. But there are some problems inside it. I will come to that very soon. But if you look at the problem, customer ID, it's fine. Name is fine. Year is also written as string. Month is also coming as string, though it should be integer, right? Even the day should also have been supposed to be integer, but we are getting it like a string. We will see how to fix that sooner. But yes, by default, when you read all this schema, there is a high chance that you can end up with a lot of errors as well, like the way you are seeing in this case as well. So we will see how to fix that, because right now we have let Spark do everything. And we have not told also to go and infer the schema. That's the reason everything will be read it like a string for you. In fact, if I come back to my first thing, which was this customer.csv, which we have read here, right? Let me execute this once again. So this was my cust one, right? Now, if I do for cust one, the schema also, I say cust one dot print schema. If I execute this, look at the output. Everything will be read like a string. But if you look at the data, there are a lot of integers. Like you can say display cust1, and you can see I have integers, I have lot many values. Sorry, this should be cust. So when I will read it here, you can still notice that I have like this customer underscore sk should itself be integer. I have so many integer, but everything will be read here like a string format. Now how to fix it then? Let me bring the old cust1 command itself. I will fix it there itself. So if I come back here, we'll write it down here, the same thing. Now, only thing which I will just change here is I will mark it as dot option, and I will say infer schema, and I need to make it as true. Now, once it will do, it will not read everything like a string. Now you will notice a good change here. So now if I say cust1 dot print schema, now notice the difference in the output. You can see customer underscore sk is coming as integer. There are a lot many values which are coming as integers now. The last review date is coming as double and so on, right? This is a better way to go about it. But still, even if you leave it to Apache Spark, Spark can still do a lot of mistakes. Spark may read a float, maybe like an integer sometimes. It can read a long as an integer sometimes. It can read maybe a string as something else. So even a date format may be read like a string. So there could be possible issues still available inside my data set, even though you say that infer schema as true. So this is something you have to keep in mind when you're working with all this. Now, how to fix it? We will see to this. I will show you that example also, that how to fix this situation. But this is an important construct which you have to keep in mind, that whenever you're working with Apache Spark, and if you leave it to Apache Spark to take a call, still there could be issues around. And those issues would be with respect to your some data type where it could do mistakes around for it. Now, what I want is, I think I have written lot many code by now. So I'm just clearing all this up. Can you just quickly go ahead and, sorry, should clear it, right? Can you quickly go ahead and try a few of these commands at your end? You have 5 minutes to do it. Whoever completes, please type done. Okay. Whoever have done it in next 2 minutes, can you do the same thing for customer underscore address dot dat file and look at the print schema? Customer underscore address dot dat file. Last 2 minutes. Okay. Guys, I need your attention now. If you are not able to complete, you can try it after some time. Let's go ahead now. A few more things. Actually, this demo which I'm showing you is pretty big. There will be a lot of things which gonna come in, and there is a slight lack of time with us now because I have to ensure that we finish Spark SQL. plus Spark MLlib is also added. So we need to sort of add to that time as well. Now, what I'm going to show you is there is something called as income underscore band dot dat file. Now, if you read that file, for example, if I go here and say, hey, income, and I say spark dot read, I can define here as option. I can say separator. I can define the separator as this. I can say .csv, and I can define the full path of this file. Let me do that. So if I define this thing, you will notice that this will return me all the results which is present inside it. Okay, there's a slight mistake here, which is with .csv. Okay, 1 second. Okay, notice here what just happening. I have basically done it with an integer. That's a mistake. So I should not have said it with integer. So yeah, it's just a habit of writing in Java, and that was coming out. Now, if I basically do this income dot print schema, now notice that what it is doing is it is reading this schema as string. Even if I make it as infer schema also, you will find that C0 will become my integer, and rest of them will also be my integer. It will show me the values in this manner. But the problem is, let's say I don't want it as an integer. Maybe I want it like a maybe the first one as maybe a long data type, right? So I want with the different data types. So I can show you also. Let's say I can bring this part from here. So let me put this. If I copy this and execute this, and if I execute this, you can see everything is coming as integer, right? Now I don't want this C0 as integer because this is actually a little longer value. If you do even a display of your income, you will notice that this is coming up now as though it's 106, but if you keep coming down, there will be like lot many values, which is like pretty big for you. Now, how to fix this issue then? One way is that I will be doing the same thing, but I will be doing a small change. So let me remove this infer schema because now I don't need it. But instead, what I'm going to do is when I'm reading this up, I'm going to define the schema here itself. So I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to define your schema now. Now, whatever your column name is, I can also define those column names because right now you can see I'm getting a C0, C1, C2 because in this data set, I don't have any column name given to me. Okay. So maybe I want to give a name to it. Maybe I want to give it a name like call1, and I want to make it as long. Okay, comma, call2, and maybe I want to make it as integer, comma, call3, we have to make it as integer. Okay, so if I execute this, and now if I do a print schema, notice the difference. You can see now I got a long data type. Okay, so that is how I can also define my values whatever I want. Now, one more thing which I want to also show you up is that if I want to maybe add a new column, first of all, how I can do that. So maybe I want to create a new data frame from the older data frame where I want to add something to it. So maybe I can say here val, maybe this time I'm going to say as income1 is going to be equal to income. Now, in order to add a column, I will be using something called as with column. Okay, so maybe I will say it here as with column, and maybe I will say maybe anything. I could define some values corresponding to it. I can simply say is call1. Maybe I'm just giving some name to it, and I'm going to say here as, let's say, call1 dot call. In fact, sorry, let's call this as income dot call, and here I can define it as, let's say, call1, which is going to be this, and let's say I want to see the values which are Maybe let's make it for call to so that I have some better values for it. Anyway, this is just an example for you. So maybe I would say here is less than or equal to maybe 60,000. Okay. I just give this much. That's it. Now, in this case, if I execute this, look at the output first. Now, if I will say income one dot show, let's see the result. Look at this, what just happened. It added a new column, though the name I think I should have given it as is called to, but it's okay. So, and based on the condition what you have given, it is computing and adding the result for you. Okay. So this is how you can actually go ahead and add any of the values for you as well. You could have even added some more things to it. For example, you could have basically added something like, hey, my column 2 is less than 60,000 and my column, sorry, it should be less than or equal to 60,000 and some other condition that we call to maybe less and greater than, let's say, 30,000, something like that. I could have given something like written as and give some one more condition after that. I'm not writing it, but you can definitely go ahead and also sort of write some more condition. And if both the conditions are going to be true, then only it will go. One more interesting thing here is I can also, let me import one thing first. There's something called as a literal function. Let me show you what it do. So import org.apache dot spark dot sql dot function dot lit. Okay, so this is the lit function which is called as literal function. Okay, this should be functions. Okay, now what I'm going to do, let me come here in the same one. I'm going to say width column. I'm just going to add one more column to it. And this time I can say here, I want to add a column, let's say name as demo. And inside this, I want to add everywhere a literal value one. So what it's doing is one is an integer value. Make it literally sort of the data type of Apache Spark, what is required, and put everywhere one. So maybe you have one column where you want to place, let's say, just one data points completely. So in that case, this is helpful. Even you can place, let's say, string data, anything like that also. In fact, the use of it, you will very soon see. I will show you one good example of that. But for now, just to understand, you can see what it will do. It will just go ahead and add a column demo for you, which will have everywhere the value one. You can see this. Okay. So this is what your literal value is doing for you. Any question till this time from anyone? Everyone clear? Okay. So we understood about how to add this schema. We have also seen how to add a column. Like I said, by mistake, I did is call one and should be is call two because we did this operation on this. So how about changing this name now? Right? Let's change this name. So maybe I will say val income two. Let's use income one dot. Now here I can say I want to change the name. So I will say with column renamed. Okay, with column renamed. And now I can say is call one. I want to name it as is called two. And if I execute this, and if I do an income two dot show, look at the output. You can see here, it made the is call one as is called two. So this way, if by chance, if you have done a mistake of sort of giving the wrong data types and all, you can easily do it in this manner. Maybe you want to remove now. Maybe by mistake you added this demo, you don't want it. Maybe even is call to, you want to remove it. You thought it's no more required. So you can also do that. I can come and say, hey, income two dot drop, and I can define my column names. So for example, I want to remove demo. I want to remove is called to, And if I do an income to dot show, you can notice this data set is also done. Okay, can you tell me what just happened with this? Why it is not removed?
Maybe in place is equal to.
Okay, anything else?
We haven't defined it to another data frame.
Yes. The problem was I did it here, but just like if you are coming from data science background, it is not basically, you have to assign it, right? Otherwise, something like in place is equal to two there, but here it is nothing. You have to assign it to something. Because remember, data frames are immutable, right? That's the first thing. RDDs and data frames are both immutable. So you cannot go and update in the same data frame. You have to create either a new or override on the same thing. Then only it will go ahead and do it. So if you basically assign it somewhere, you will notice that it will be gone. Okay, it will basically not be there. Okay, can you quickly go ahead and try a few of these commands now? No need to try everything, but try to have some curiosity. Like I said, try to see if you can add, delete everything you are able to perform quickly. I'm giving you 5 minutes for it. Not mandatory that you use income band underscore dot that. Try it on a different data set. Maybe you can try on customer.csv itself. That's also fine. Up to you. Whoever have completed, please type done. Last 2 minutes. Everyone complete this. You can use head with 100, and there's a tail version. Even in SQL, you can write that query. I will show you that maybe. Last 1 minute. Okay, now I need your attention, all of you. So what I'm going to do, I'm again going to read this customer or dat. I'm using the separator as this, header as true. Maybe I'm just only going to add one more thing. Let's say info schema as true. Info schema, sorry, I have to use option first. And I'm going to say info schema which is going to be true here. So now let's execute this. And this is going to return me the result, which we are well aware of. Let me show you even quickly, cust2.show, and this will return me some data sets as well. Now I want to show you some filter queries with it. Okay, how we can have these filter queries and we can see the results basically coming out with that. So first thing first, in fact, let me use, okay, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that with these columns, what I have, how we can define this queries. So I will say val cust3 is going to equal to cust2. Now, one way is to use filter. I can say filter. I want the values. Let me use dollar symbol here. So there's a column called as c underscore birth underscore day. So I want the values which is greater than 0, because maybe in my data set I have some bad data, corrupt data, wrong data. So definitely my day should always be greater than 0, because otherwise there could be no negative day and there could not be anything like 0 as well, right? Now, second thing is you could have also used where also. It's both are same. Okay. We have already seen where clause while reading from the book as well. So now here, there is another column which I'm gonna use it here. In fact, let me use the same one itself to show you this example. So I can say C underscore birth underscore day. Maybe this value, I want it to be always less than or equal to 31, right? Maybe another thing which I want to check whether it's all fine or not. Same way we can do it for month also. We can make it like greater than 0, less than or equal to 12. I'm not doing that. You can always try it. Maybe you have identified that in your year, you have some null data. Okay, actually there are in this data set, we have some. So for fixing them up also, I could have said that, hey, where, and this time I want the value, let's say as maybe C underscore birth underscore year dot year is not null. I want all the data set where I don't have anything basically which is not null. Maybe I could have also added one more thing to it. Maybe I can say filter, should be no space, filter, and I can define it as C underscore birth underscore year should be greater than 0. Okay, let's say I only did this much. Let's execute it. Now, if I do a display of plus 3, you can see this output. What just happened? Not found value.
Maybe because you didn't close it. You didn't close the string. C birth year.
No, that's not a problem. I am doing some other mistake. Let me just quickly. This closing is not a problem. This is the right syntax. Let me just bring my code. I'm just gonna create it with customer df. Let me quickly check if this data set is available or not. It is coming up fine. I will just execute this with a better name. That's it here. And now I can do a display of this whole thing. It's coming up. I'm not sure what is the mistake I've done here because it's all fine. You can see here, this is what you were referring to, right? You can see here also I'm not closing. It's all fine. It's just that this code, I have just made it ready for you day before yesterday. Nothing more difference in that. But you can see here also it's same. Right? Everyone clear on this part? Any questions on this? Okay. So this is how we perform the filtering steps. Now let's see some joining portion. How we can do some joins. In fact, specifically if I talk about some inner joins and all that, how we can do that. So let me first load a data set. Now let me use my older code itself. So here you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to create a data frame called as customer address df. I'm going to read it, going to infer this true, header as true, separator I'm defining it up, and I'm calling customer underscore address dot dat. Let's execute this. Okay. Already above, I have created customer df also, right? This one. So what I'm going to do now is in customer df, I have one column which is called as c underscore current underscore address underscore sk. This one. Okay, this column here, and the second table which I have just brought up, this one, this also have one column. Let me show you that. Display. Let me give this name. So this first column, these two are linked with each other with a primary and foreign key sort of relationship. Now what I want is I want all the values coming up, which is a join of these two, customer address DF and customer DF, where my CA address underscore SK from here and from the other table is equal. How we will go about it. Now, in order to do that, now look at this easy syntax in Apache Spark, what you can do here. So you can say your first data frame name, which is your customer DF, give your column name, whatever you have. Now notice the triple equal to, which is there in Scalar, not there in Python. In Python, you will use double equal to. In Scalar, they have basically changed this double equal to triple equal to. That's do the same thing, but it's just the syntax what is being used in Scalar. Then the second data frame name dot call, and then you can define the second column for that as well. Let's execute this. So now if you see the display of this, display join expression, and if I execute this, my notebook is acting little weird today. Not sure why.
I had a
Okay.
similar error when I was trying to select columns from the data frame.
No, that is select is not required here. Again, I just need to go back and import it, because remember I did a clear result that have removed that importing of this call thing. And if I bring those call thing, it will again start working for me. Okay, this command. On top of it, somewhere I have to do an import of this call. But here select is not required. That's the best thing in Spark SQL. They have given very shorter syntax. Anyway, you can search it out. I have already executed it above. If you bring this up, you can see the error is also basically going to complain to you in the same manner. Now, one more thing which I also want to show you up is, now since you brought up the select thing also, let me show you how you can do the select. Select generally when we bring, if I don't want all the column. For example, this way. Look at this one. Here I can say customer DF dot join. I'm going to define basically this thing here, customer address DF. I'm going to define my join. Okay, I got it. So this is a mistake. Okay, look at this part. Basically, if you see this thing, I have basically only defined my join expression here. Okay, and here what I'm doing is I'm telling that okay, I'm going to perform a join, because here I have not used any join keyword, right? That was a mistake. I have to define my join keyword, and then I'm going to define my other data frame with it. I'm going to do my join expression with this part, give it here, give the select statement, and give this up. Even I'm more habitual of writing this code using a SQL format. I will come back to it very soon. So I don't use Spark SQL syntax at all in any of my project. It's just that for teaching purpose, I have to bring it out, but I don't use it because I prefer to SQL, and that's where sometimes I myself get confused with the SQL syntaxes, which is completely fine anyway. So you can see here, this is customer DF, the second data frame with join, give your join expression, give the select. Now, if I do this display, it will give you the full output for you. Now you should be able to see this particular output for you. This one. Can you all quickly go and execute now few of the statements which we have done? Again, I'm giving you 5 minutes.
So for the join thing, you used customer address.dat, and what was the other file?
The one was customer DF, second was customer address DF.
No, these are aliases you have given. I mean, what is the file name from the table?
File name. One file name is customer underscore address.dat. Second file name is customer.dat. Sorry, not this one. Yeah, customer.dat.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Shivank.
Yes, please ask.
Okay. The join expression value which you have used in the next statement, that could have been replaced with the entire value
You
in the
could
same
have,
line.
we could have copied from here and you can paste it here also, which is fine.
It will be the same thing. Okay. Okay. Actually, I was going to request something, and I need consent from everyone in this call. So I was thinking, Shivank, if you could share all these commands with us, we can go through it quickly and do the execution as homework. We can do it offline whenever we get time. However, in this call, in this training session, we can go over some of the more. We could cover a few more topics. For example, all the joins, all the read operations, write operations, we can quickly go through the commands, and practicing part, we can do it offline. Will that be okay with everyone? And this is a question for everyone in the call.
I'm okay with that. I can give you the context when we have, basically when we have talked about the training, so that's where this request came up that we have
Okay.
to some sort of the hands-on, so that because otherwise people don't practice and all that, and that's where I have to give them. In fact, that will be better.
Absolutely. So that's why I wanted to understand the comfort level of everyone in this group. Because we know how to execute commands and we can explode there. I'm sure we will not be able to cover everything in this call entirely, right? So some of the practice work, if we have the notebook handy, we can practice it offline.
I leave it to you guys to take the call on this.
Guys, do you want to cover more things like write operation, all the joins, and then do all these exercises offline? Is that okay?
That's okay for me.
Okay, I would like to hear this from people who probably do not know Spark SQL beforehand.
So
Because
yeah, actually, I think how it helps is we are not familiar with the syntax at all. So suppose if Shivank has to start directly from join expression, then it will become like a difficult thing, to you know if it has to be like start from the simple commands and then go up to the kind of difficult ones. So because of the you can say not familiarity with the syntax at all, I think this
Yeah.
is also important.
okay, so
Yeah,
it
yeah,
should
of
be
course,
like,
Karthik. Yeah, so that is absolutely fine. I was just thinking that we are anyways copying, pasting. At least I'm doing that. I'll be frank. So I was thinking I could do it offline and cover a few things which were not very clear to me. But
yeah, if
that's fine, absolutely.
so be one thing, if you're doing copy pasting again, you're doing the wrong way. That is not exactly what I want also. So as I said, when you do this command, you have to try out few other things. For example, I don't want it maybe with this one. Maybe you try something wrong. See what's gonna happen. I use call. True, maybe use maybe dollar. See that are you able to get that easily or not? Um, so then you can try to use different tables. So when I ask you to do this, I don't expect you to copy paste. I expect you to try
Yeah,
out.
I right.
Yeah. Fine, then let's continue. Anyway, we are left with now the last few things. And like I said, when this was requested as well, and since people are more comfortable with the same way, let's follow that. That should be fine. I'm okay with any medium. And one more quick question from all of you while you guys are doing. Are you guys aware of something called as Docker? Docker containers.
Yes, Shivank.
Everyone is aware of it here?
I'm aware of some.
Okay, Gaush, do not know. What about others?
No, I also don't know.
I also don't for sure.
Okay. I was thinking to teach you one Kafka Connect topic using a Docker. Let me see to this how I can bring it up. Maybe I can give you a very quick reference of maybe 20 minutes on this and show you that, because in industry you will be finding the same method being used a lot, which makes the life a lot easier on the development aspect. Okay, let me see to that. Yeah, I have not yet, in fact, even made your code ready for Kafka Connect, but when I will be doing it, this was something in my mind to give you a flavor, because you already know now how to work with Databricks. You already know now how to work with Spark Shell. I will also show you quickly how to work with Eclipse, but you should also know all the ways how kind of people use this Spark. So that was just the intention. Whoever completes, please type done. Last 2 minutes. Don't try all this select, just write one or two. Main thing is to play with the join expression. Maybe try to give in select statement some wrong column name. See what happens. Is it going to give you an error? What exactly gonna happen? Try those things, because at least for this you can immediately ask me questions.
So Shivang, by default, it's taking the inner join, right?
Yes, by default it's an inner join.
Okay, we can perform other joins as well.
Yeah, just like you have this join command, right? You can say comma and you can define your join, like outer left outer join, right outer join. So you can define all that. This is just a
Okay.
parameter. That's it.
Got it.
Last 1 minute. Siddhi, there is some audio coming. Can you mute yourself? Okay, I need your attention back now, guys. Now, few more things which I want to very quickly walk you through is, let's say if you want to hit few mathematical functions, for example, there is something called as a count function. So I can call this, I can import this, and then after that, from the data frame, I can call, let's say, the count function out of it. So you can see customer df dot count, and this return me that how many number of rows we do have from it. I could have written the same thing in a select method also. So that is also be fine. Let me show you how we could have done that. I could have done it like customer df select count strict dot show. And you can notice that this is also going to return me the result in the span, right? That's also fine. Means select will just create it in the form of a column. That's going to be the difference with it. So this is about the count part. Similarly, maybe you want to count like in the first name, which is not null. Because when you do this analytics activity, a lot of times we have to look at if I have any wrong data, whether I have missing data, I want to check that. So for this, what I can do, I can say customer df dot filter. I can give the column name, which is not null, and I can do a count out of it. If I execute this, you can notice that this is going to return me 96,508, which means that there are some around 3,500 records, which is roughly null present inside my first name. So this is how this is very helpful command for us. Similarly, now I don't want to just count, but instead I want the unique count from it. So in that case, there is something called as count distinct. I need to import this function first. And then what I need to do in that same column name, what I have, I would like to call it like customer DF and select. If I do a simple count, it will give me the result of the same way. You can see this result, which is going to be a little different right now. But if I use the count distinct, see the result now. So I got basically this count as 96,508 because it have ignored the null data around for me. Now here, if I do a count distinct, only the unique names will come up. Now you can see this result. You can see it's very less, right? 4,131. That means the same name is getting repeated quite a lot. So this is again going to be very helpful command when you're doing some data analytics and all that. That's going to be helpful. Let me also show you one more different way of writing your Spark commands. Now, till now, what I was doing was that whenever I was loading the data, I was saying that option, 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 right? Every time I'm calling an option, whenever I'm defining a property, like for info schema, for header, for separator, everywhere I was giving the option part. But I could have done the same thing in one option itself as well. How we can have done that? Let me show you that syntax. So you can see here that I can see spark.read, format is CSV, and you can see I'm saying option, and then I can define everything as a map. So list of map, I should say. So you can say header as true, delimiter as this, info schema as true. This is more convenient. In fact, I would say this is something which I have seen people using it, writing it in this manner. Though if you write with option, there is no problem, but it just makes more cleaner code as well. So this is a preferred way by experienced people, which you will find it over the internet as well. Now, if I want to find similar to count the min value, I can also do that. I can import this min function, and then whatever I want to, I can do that. So I can even say item df select this minimum value, and I want to have basically rename this value to min ws cost. Otherwise, what will happen? If you are creating this with a select, so it's going to basically add up this column itself for me. But the problem is that I don't want this like min with bracket something. I would like to rename this column with something better. So you can see that it will return me a better results for it. I can even see this result. I can say min ws cost df dot show. Okay. If I hit this, you will find that this is going to give me just one column name, which is better because earlier what was it was doing it was if you would just remove this part, you can try it at your end later. You can remove this part, it will give you with the name min bracket this, which I don't want as a column. So this is again some useful things which you have to keep in mind when you're working with this. Now, when you're displaying also, you can do some operations. for example, maybe I'm not creating any new data frame, but what I want is that in the item df, wherever my wholesale cost is equal to 0.02, return me only those values. If you notice here, I'm using 3 equal to again. Okay, so if I execute this, so if you go on the right, you will be able to see that wholesale cost will be 0.02. So corresponding to that only, I'm seeing all these values coming to me. Clear, everyone, till this point? Okay. Now coming to, I think one question which Surbi have asked as well, that what about if I have to use some other joins, right? So I said you have to just add a parameter. So the parameters comes like this. Okay, just to kind of give you this insight. Like I said, you have to just give comma and can define whatever you want. So like you are saying here, like you are doing the item df join with your minimum ws cost df. Okay, keep this in mind. So I'm basically doing with this, I'm basically trying to find out all the records where I have minimum value of my cost, right? So this is what we have computed here. So I want to see that whichever records, whichever row is having the minimum cost, like I underscore wholesale underscore cost, which is minimum for that. So what I'm doing here, I'm basically doing a join with the whole data set, which is item df, and I'm going to do this operation with min ws cost, which was just one record, right? Which was just one record of minimum value. I'm doing this join and I'm telling specific, though if you do not write this inner, which is also fine, but if maybe if you would have wanted to do outer let join or something, you could have done that. But this is just to show you the syntax. But this is very interesting because this way you can see all the cheapest item, right? All the cheapest item which are available, you can see it from this one. If you want to display it also, you can do that. So I can say display of this item, and you can see all the records coming up for me, right? So there are 2 records which are cheaper. If there were more also, we could have seen that. So again, a quite a useful command. Same way you have max. Can you all go ahead and try the same thing on max now? Okay, I don't want you to do it on min. So can you give me the most expensive item in this data frame? Okay, let me make this clear. So that you can see this code. The whole code is in front of you now. Go ahead and give me the maximum price item. Whoever is done, please send me a code. This is the max value. I need the item list, which is expensive, just like how I have done it here. Last 1 or 2 minutes, quickly completed, guys. Gaush, have you completed? You have to just write a join query, that's it. Rest of it, you have done it.
I'm just doing that. Sure.
That okay, perfect. Okay, so I need everyone attention now. It's pretty simple actually. I will not do the complete thing, but we'll give the reference. First is you should definitely be importing this up. Same way how I have done for min, for the max also, you can go ahead and basically say max of your column name with rename for this. Maybe just change it to wholesale cost. I've just done it for pricing here. Just name it to something like that. Once you're done, then just start a join for it, right? Simple. So that's something which you have to perform here. Now, I want to show you something else. So for example, if I want to use a different data set, which is for store sales. So this is my store sales data set. What I want to show you is that you have also a sum function and a sum distinct function. Now the difference is sum will sum all the elements for you. Some distinct will only perform on the, it will do the sum of only the elements which are distinct in nature. So let's say if one is already counted in sum, then if the one is occurring once again in the data set, then in that case, it will not consider it. It will take it like, it will ignore that one. So if it have appeared once again, it will simply ignore it. So meanwhile, this job is running. I can just show you quickly that how you can import this sum and sum distinct. Okay. So this is going to, you have to import all these functions around. If you are doing, let's say only the sum part, then you can simply say that, hey, I need this sum for all these columns and it will return me all these values. But for the same thing, if I just change now to sum distinct, you can see some difference in the result. And the reason these jobs are taking some time because this data set is little bigger. Okay. So that's the reason you're seeing this up. Now I want to show you that if I would have used sum distinct and sum for the same column, see the difference now coming out with them. So you can see here for the same column with the sum distinct, I got 5050, and with the sum, I got such a big number, right? So that's what you get it when you want to execute in this manner. Now, though there could be similarly lot many functions around that, you can definitely look at the documentations to see all this, which is completely fine. But this is the way we will be majorly writing all the SQL queries. Everyone clear with this? I'm still not done. There are still a lot of things which we have to talk about. But is everyone clear to the point which we had discussed today? Tomorrow, it's going to be little more advanced. We will also see basically quickly that around how to write maybe some SQL queries around it. But at the same time, SQL queries, I will not spend too much of time because we have already done a lot of SQL queries in Hive. So you are just running your Hive queries in a way, right? So there's not much difference. What the time I want to invest is in little different. Okay. I will be probably showing you how to write a UTF, a very small Java code I will bring up so that at least you get an idea basically to go around with this. Even maybe I can show you with different programming language. Then how to basically write across all these queries like reader, writer. If you get different formats, what are the different options you have? So those things I will be stressing more in tomorrow class. Though I can give you a code file which I have written it already for SQL, which is pretty in-depth file. I will show you all that files as well. But I will be spending more time on the complex stuff. So the reason I spent more time on this Spark SQL because this syntax is pretty new, but Hive syntax you are well aware of. Everyone clear? Whatever we have discussed, I'm now opening this forum for any questions. Okay, sure. So then we are all good. We will be connecting again tomorrow for some Spark SQL component. And most likely tomorrow itself, I will be starting a new topic, which could either be Spark MLlib or it could be Spark Stream. Okay. Any one other topic would also be at least maybe for half an hour or something, we will get time to get introduced with that particular concept. and maybe then the coding component, we can do it in the last class of your Spark, because your Saturday class is going to be completely on Apache Kafka. Okay. So that class we cannot compromise with anything else. That's going to be a very critical class. And Apache Kafka is going to be important component plus a little bigger component as well. I will be going into nitty-gritty details of that. But at the same time, just to give you a right context, Apache Kafka could be a course in itself. In fact, I have delivered it. I have delivered it completely for 3 continuous days as well, which is like for 24 hours to basically for just for Apache Kafka. So this is that big sort of topic if you talk about, but still from your perspective, whatever you need, like how to build a pipeline, how you can create those connectors and all that will be important, since you guys will not be more in line towards the coding aspect of it. So I will not be spending much time towards those aspects, but you will be all set and ready at least for Apache Kafka in terms of going ahead and basically working on Apache Kafka after that. So that will be enough. But I will give you still some references which you can use it after the class to go over and sort of definitely read more on Apache Kafka section, because like I said, it could be a complete course on Apache Kafka if you want to go into deep around it. Okay. So this is it done for today class. If there's no further questions, we will be connecting then tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shivam. Thank you very much.
Shivam,
Yes, Aisha.
will you share this notebook?
Yeah, I will upload the same one, which
Okay.
we can just use it.
Shivank, just want to ask, today we use some files we uploaded in that Databricks, now. So there are some big files like 400 MB and these kind of things. So today we didn't use those at all. Are we going to use them tomorrow? If you have any idea, the bigger files.
Maybe I will not show you in the class. I tell you like what I have done so that you get a reference. I have basically prepared this for you guys this day before yesterday, this much. Okay. Now, due to the time constraint, I will be definitely cutting off few things. For example, basically, if you look at this Spark SQL, right? This Spark SQL, I have basically created all these nodes, which I will make it available for you. You can see this images also showing up in this file, right? So I will make these files available for you. So maybe those bigger codes will come here. Okay. So all the data which I have given you, all the data set is getting used in this code, because I have put the data set very smartly in this so that it becomes more like a case study and not just on a smaller data. You can see the power of it with at least millions of records in front of you. So maybe I will not walk over this in detail. For example, can you see this is exactly like your SQL query. There's nothing in it, right? So I don't want to spend time on this, but at the same time, I will give you this file. Otherwise, you can see it's pretty big, even all the join operation and all that. And in my corporate work, I prefer this way. I always write the SQL queries like this. Even the joins and all, you can see in this notebooks which I have created, I have put down everything in a, like you can see here, you can write all this and you're well aware of these syntaxes, right? So all these things I have already placed down for you. In fact, I have also prepared a case study for you, not 5 case studies for you, but I cannot teach in the class again due to the time constraint. This is, I have kept it inside a practice folder. So you can go and practice it, because the solution also I've placed it here. You can go ahead and read it from here. Got it? So this will be the approach, Harsha. Any other question? And Harshal, you are clear on this, right? I can't hear him. Okay, anyway, then we are done. We will be connecting again tomorrow. So tomorrow I will be spending time more on the data sources part, reading, writing. Okay, sure. So let's connect again tomorrow then. Thank you.